When dealing with spherical or cylindrical mapping, anytime you're looking at a model, you want to think about what basic shape, if you're going to start with any of those, that it actually resembles the most. And you're not restricted to it. There's no specific rule that for a sphere, I can't use a cylindrical map. I could even use a planar map on certain parts, like the poles, which are the top and the bottom. But the general idea is breaking this up uh, into pieces that make sense and make it a lot easier for you to texture. And then depending on what you're going to be painting your textures in, whether it's Photoshop, Mudbox, or Substance Painter, or maybe even another program, you kind of dictate. This is your canvas. How do you want it to look when you're painting on it? And if you think about it in that way, it makes it a lot easier. The key components is you just don't want to have distortion, or you want to have as little distortion as possible. So just showing to demonstrate the spherical and cylindrical mapping. If I actually click on spherical, you see it wraps the whole thing around, but what you're going to get is this very strange, large setup of a spherical map, and those don't look like perfect squares. They're more rectangular, and then they get really wonky and distorted as we go to the top. So possibly going from the center, and I always see people trying to struggle and grab sections, and then they get weird parts. And for me, one of the easiest ways of something that's uniformed and kind of set up like this is to find the center. I'm just going to select one face, shift double click to get the whole ring. And I have to get, so I'll do that again. Select a face, shift double click the face next to it, and it grabs the whole ring. And now if I hit shift period, shift period, shift period, I'm growing the selection. And if I like, oops, it's a little bit off, I can just add to it. Shift select that, shift double click, and now it's more balanced, you see. So now I could do a spherical on that one and it makes it nice, fairly even. And then that leaves the top and the bottom. And the top and the bottom, I'm just going to grab all those, rather than trying to get this, I'm just going to grab these faces here. And what will happen is now I can just get a planar map on the Y. Boop. And now I've got them nice and projected out. Now, if I go in, here's a nice little option inside of here. Whereas if I can decide, do I want to select the vertices, the edges, faces, UVs, or UV shell. So if I just click and I just use the W, the move tool, then I have my UVs. The ones at the bottom, the ones at the top. And you notice, because I have it selected here, these are the UV shells that I have. Now that bottom is red because it's flipped. And that's where we grab that and now use that little flip button I had you guys, showed you guys, boop, and now it's flipped back. And to add those buttons into here, I had pointed these out earlier, is where you go in and you choose which one. So like I have the flip, the rotation, these different ones. So I'd go into modify flip and I'd hit Control Shift left mouse button and you see it just added it. If I say, oh man, I already have one, right click on it, delete it, now it's gone. Okay. So you can add the flip, the rotate, the lattice, which is the modify UV layout lattice, and then the cut or separate UVs. And if you click into here, You can see some of those, which ones are which. There's the cut, that's that one. Um, and the other one is this guy. This one's an important one we'll be using later. And to add that one in there, you actually have to go up here because it's not listed. And it's the 3D Cut and Sew UV tool. So Control Shift, left mouse click, but it doesn't pop it into here, it pops it into whatever shelf you're in. So if I actually middle mouse drag and put it into here, then you're good. And once again, I already have it. I'll just hit delete, and now I'm clear.